Check, 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 check. Okay, and then I've got to do Zoom. What is Zoom? A window capture, I guess?
Yeah, it's a window capture, correct.
There it is, Zoom meeting. God, this is so fucking easy, man. And then do you just, it's funny how it doesn't, you got to like resize the window. Is yours the same way?
Yeah. That one. Thursday afternoon.
Who do we have Taylor like helping us?
No, I don't even help us right now, but I can get him.
We might want him to, okay.
I'll take care of Taylor. I got it.
Okay. So what are you calling this?
Getting creative with lives and your questions. ... live.
Okay, I'm just going to call it Your Art Business Questions Live. On this happy Thursday. Schedule.
No, yeah, just pop me a notification.
For YouTube?
Yep, for YouTube. All right, hold on. I'll get Taylor first before I do anything.
Okay, for anyone coming on, if you can drop a comment and let us know that you can hear us, YouTube.
This is some really hacky stuff. I'm going to go live on Facebook now, all right?
All right.
Video. Oh, I screwed up the stream key. Hold on. So you might want to just, some chit chat to keep things going.
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. So it looks like some people are coming on. I'm looking to see if our stream is working. And if you guys could drop a comment on here. Where is that? Then I can... Okay, cool. Yeah, so Jenny McGee's here. Zan is here. Perfect, they hear me. Awesome. If you guys have any questions while you're on here, go ahead and drop them in the comments.
All right.
Zan, I hope you're going to be on the real live questioning tomorrow, because I know you've had some questions about some of your stuff.
Taylor, let me know if we sound both okay, my audio and his audio, or is it circusy? And let me know if you can hear Nick too on Facebook. Nick, how you doing? Why don't you introduce yourself? Because that's what we like to do on these things.
Yeah, I'm doing great. First of all, despite the current quarantine situation, Nick Friend. I founded Breathing Color in 2003, which is a manufacturing company. We make canvas, fine art paper, photography papers. My company's been in business for 17 years, and I am also the owner and CEO of Art Storefronts.
Okay, so now my name is Patrick. I run marketing at Art Storefronts. I've done some things too, but right now I'm just getting nerding out on some lives. So we right now are doing something super creative. We are going to stream to Facebook, YouTube, and now Instagram Live. You ready to go on Instagram?
I sure am.
All right, looks like we're on Instagram. Why don't you join that chat, and we'll pull the trifecta together here, which is just sort of amazing, I think.
Zan was asking, when is our stream? So it's every Tuesday and Friday. We're gonna announce this across the board, but it's tomorrow at 12:30 Pacific, 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. That's the one.
You got to jump onto the Instagram one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One second, guys.
We've got the trifecta of all three going at once.
This is fun. This is what this time is for, is it not, Pat?
It is. You gotta get creative. I think you just got to get creative. Period. I'm seeing if this is all working. See if somebody is on Facebook and can hear us.
Okay, I'm hopping on the Insta.
The sheer complexity of all of this is just wild. I mean, absolutely wild. So let me see if I can pull up the stream here.
Okay, I just pulled my request through.
You did?
Yes.
Go live with Nick. Let's just see if we've done this. And bear with us if you're watching these things and you're like, what are these two yahoos doing? We're literally trying to stream. It says waiting to connect. We're literally trying to stream on Instagram Live, on Facebook Live, and on YouTube all at the same time, which is pretty wild. All right, so you're in. I got to turn my volume down on this.
Yeah, I just did too.
Yeah, so you're coming through.
Hey guys. Okay. So it looks like we're in business here.
So now we have Instagram Live going, Facebook going. So you'll have to use headphones if we want to do this in the future, because I can pick up the audio on coming out of your speakers and going into your phone, because your phone is super sensitive. But that's just a random note. So guys, what are we doing? We're getting creative. We're trying stuff we've never tried before, because it's, virus time and it sucks and we're locked up. And one insanely effective way to take advantage of this situation is straight up live streaming. And I should say, hi guys, that this is so hard to do. My mind is just racing because there's so many things going on at once. One of the best ways to do this is live broadcast. And, this is just sort of an important corollary / lesson, but every one of the platforms, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, yes, I realize they're owned by the same company, are all at war with one another. Them, YouTube, Pinterest, all of them. And they're at war for attention. And the way that they measure it is how long people are spending on their, websites, how engaged they are, are they liking and commenting and sharing and doing all of those things? And if they are, they're winning, because all that does is that gives them more ad inventory that they can sell and makes them a more profitable company. So at the end of the day, these lives are something that all of the platforms, not just they love. They love them. They want to keep all of us on their platforms forever and engaged. And so as a result of that, what they do is they take these lives, and if you reward them by keeping people on their platform, they reward you with a ton of extra organic reach, which is just sort of crazy, right? And that's how it goes. And so I don't know about you guys, but let's just talk about Instagram for a second. How many people, if you go to the top of your stories right now, are actually live? Probably not that many. Not that many people are still doing it. How many people on Facebook are going live? Not that many. Certainly more than were pre-COVID, but there's just not that many doing it, because it's hard. You think it's hard. It's not hard. It is really, really easy. Nick and I have our cell phones just stuck on a little tripod over to the side. We're live on Instagram. It took 2 seconds, no preparation, nothing. Just boom, on, and now there's people on here. I can wave to you guys, and we're on Facebook too. This whole thing is just insane. What do you think?
Yeah, we live in some interesting times here. It's just incredible that you can literally go live and connect with your audience in real time, right? I'm the owner, I'm the CEO of the company. I am here to connect with my audience, to go one-on-one, to answer questions. There's nobody in between. And the fact that you can do that is just incredible.
Yeah. And the fact that you can get a ton of free reach as a result of doing it.
Yep. Okay. So does drop your questions, guys. If you have any art business, growing your art business types of questions, we'll answer them for you. Something we should mention while we're at this is that every Tuesday and Friday, we are doing live art business consulting at 12:30 Pacific, 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. So that means tomorrow. We will be doing that on Facebook Live, but we will be doing the consulting with art storefronts members only, and talking through, their businesses specifically, what's going on. And we're calling this like an open office hours. So oftentimes we'll have themes, like we were working with people who have never sold anything online, or they have new businesses at art storefronts. And then we talk to people who have sold offline typically well, but not online. And then we have people who are selling really well consistently all the time. And that's a different workshop. So tomorrow is just an open office hours to just talk about anything. And I think it's extremely relevant to do that right now. We're like opening that up a little bit more just due to the current circumstances, the pandemic, and the creativity that's required during these times. We got into this it's almost 2 weeks ago when we did our first we did our first presentation on pandemic marketing and how to adjust during these times if you're a photographer and artist. That one was fantastic, and we just simply can't do enough of these right now, I don't think. So it's exciting.
Yeah, Beck's asking how we do it all at once, and I want to answer that. But on Instagram, Janine Goldsmith says, I want to utilize your services, but I have no money now, so much art though. We hear that a lot, and we know it's tough times right now, without question, financially. But I would say, a ton of what we do, we put some pretty good content into the ecosystem that you can use, put into practice in your business right now. And, you can follow us and do it. And you know what? No one ever does. Like I get these comments all the time. Jeannie, it's like, you guys are expensive. We can't afford it. Like, I get that, but you don't ever go and put the marketing into practice, because I see, and then I go and look at the website, and there's no Facebook pixel on your website. And you sign up for your email list. I can barely even do that. If you have one at all, you're not emailing. You're not doing email capture. You're barely posting on your Facebook and your Instagram, but it's too expensive when I have art to sell. It's like, start putting the marketing stuff into practice. Like, there's tons that you can do right now, and start grinding. So that would be how I answer that.
Yeah, and I say that, and I say that also, like, it's totally okay. If you can't afford, the set, like our membership fee, which starts at $999, and then you are definitely not ready for it yet. So don't panic. Like, you're just not ready for it yet. I think, like, if you're going to join Art Storefronts, you are starting a real business, possibly for the first time, like a real art business that you're going to take forward. And if you're not at that point yet, then you either need to go sell some of your art, get out there, go sell enough to make that $1,000 and prove that you actually have something, or you need to drive some Uber, get a part-time job, whatever it is, like, to try to take your art business forward. But something's not quite right there if you're not there yet. And I think that that's okay. You need to, like, find a way to get there, or it may not happen, Do you agree with that, Pat? I think that's kind of an important statement.
Yeah, I mean, she
because we're not a magic bullet, right? Like, if you don't have anything, like, this isn't a magic bullet. Like, you're just going to equip yourself with the things to really grow, right? So if you're not there yet, then it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and there's a ton of really cool stuff you can do and put into practice in the meantime. And this thing is going to end. We are going to kick this thing's butt, as far as I'm concerned. It's not going to be around for much longer.
So that's right. On that topic, I just want to say this because it's on my mind. The starving artist line has always bothered me. And there's these phrases that kind of masquerade as like valid excuses, and it's like, art doesn't sell online, which has been around for like 10 years, and it's just, I don't know if anybody believes that anymore. I think that one's finally been squashed. But I'm a starving artist, right? And it's not that I don't empathize with this, like, with the person who's struggling, but a starving artist, to me, it's actually like a it's hiding what the real meaning is, what's really happening. And what that is that it just means that the business is not working. That's what it means, Like, there's a problem with the business. Like, either the market doesn't want what you're putting out, or you're doing something wrong or something like that. But it just means that something needs to be fixed. And I think that this romantic phrase of, oh, I'm a starving artist is like, it's just kind of an excuse, that I don't like, because it gets into your head and it makes you think like, yeah, well, this is just the way it is for everybody. And it's like, no. Like, you're just an entrepreneur. You're a struggling entrepreneur. That's what a starving artist is. There are struggling entrepreneurs in every single industry. And, the starving artist is one that you actually have like a romantic phrase that you can kind of like hide behind, but other industries don't have that. But at the end of the day, if you recognize that something is wrong and something's not working, that's how you can actually take it forward. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no question. Got a good question about from Kim, she's going to come to the webinar tomorrow, by the way. We want to tear her site down. But part of the problem is that it's too many hats for some people. Time to create, time to market, etc. There's no question about that. Too many hats is just is life. It's just life, especially right now with 2 kids at home. We've all got too many hats. You have to just adjust, Kim. And it's like, the classic line here is, and somebody punked me with this a while back, but guess what, Kim? You have something in common with Elon Musk. You know what it is? You both have 24 hours in a day. You got the same 24 hours that guy does, and that guy's sending rockets to Mars, building electric cars. He just sent like 200 ventilators to the government. I don't even know how he made those things. So it's hard. It's hard for sure. And there's it just takes an adjustment. If you want to succeed, you can't just be creating all the time. You're gonna have to spend some time on your marketing, and that's just the rule of business, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it's also like, what are those hats? Like, if I have to wear, if you're saying that you have to wear too many hats, what exactly are those hats that you're wearing? Because oftentimes you're spending time doing the wrong things, right? Like we in our last Art Storefronts member consulting session that we did. I forget who it was, but one of the gentlemen on there was talking to us, and he's like, hey, I'm trying to create this page on my website, and I want to drive people to that. And he was like, I'm trying to figure out how to get all these videos on there and all this stuff. And yet he was telling us, like, his biggest problem is that he's been selling in galleries, in the past, and the galleries aren't selling anymore. And he was selling in a co-op gallery. And so now he's really focused on selling online. So we were sitting there and we're like, and he said that he was selling like $20,000 a year through these different channels. And so you and I were like, okay, wait, your art is selling. Like, clearly you have traction, you have something here. And the last thing that you need to be doing is spending hours and hours and hours building pages with videos on them. You've got a beautiful website. The website works. It's ready to go. It's ready to take transactions. You need to get out there. You need to do more marketing. You need to get more fish lines in the water. Like we were giving him ideas and strategies on what to do, but we wanted him to get 8 more fishing poles in the water. And what he was doing is he was focusing on this one fishing pole. And he was like, what kind of, like, I'm going to go take 8 hours and perfect that bait, right? He was talking about doing SEO. Search engine optimization for all these pages. SEO is not going to help you right now. This is probably the worst time for that, right? Like you're probably going to get no ROI on doing SEO anyway. That is the most overplayed, stopped working 10 years ago strategy that there is. But but it hit him right away. Do you see how quickly it hit him when he's like, oh my gosh, you guys are so right. Like I've been sitting here spending my time like worrying about this one little thing, and I didn't realize that one little thing is not going to bring more eyeballs to my art. I got to actually do 10 other things so that I can try to get my art in front of 10 more groups of people who can sign up for my email list and end up buying and all that stuff. So it's like of the 24 hours you have in the day, of the time you have, are you actually spending it correctly? Elon Musk is the perfect example of somebody who is spending it optimized and correctly, right? In his world.
Yeah, well, I think in anyone's world. I mean, guys, I'm a total fanboy. I mean, I'll admit it. The guy impresses me massively. So
me too.
Not without his fault, sure, but very, very impressive.
But I think it's a great question that she was asking. Like, how do I have the time? Like, a lot of people say that. I mean, look, I run multiple businesses. I have 3 kids. I have 3 daughters, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old, right? And I somehow find the time to do all of it. And you know what? It is true. It's like, how much time are you spending on TV and doing this and doing that? And, so there's your leisure time, and there's the time that you're spending doing the wrong things. But I think that what I normally find is people not spending their time correctly on the things that are actually going to move your business, right? If you think about and you analyze what you're doing, is it actually adding leads to your lead list, i.e. emails? How many emails did you get last week? Was it more than the week before? Was it more than the week before that? Because if it wasn't, your business is not growing. So whatever you're working on doesn't really matter because your business is not growing. So you need to focus on the things that are going to do that.
Yeah, and by the way, you need constant reminders too. Because let me tell you, I get stuck in those ruts all the time.
Yes.
All the time. And then you have to sit there and ask yourself, is what I'm working on currently the best use of my time and the most effective way to grow my business? And if you can't answer yes, and if you can't even answer a heck yes, then you're probably working on something that is not the most effective use of your time. And it's certainly not going to grow your business. But that's a lot of the guidance that we have.
There's a Gary Keller, if you're familiar with Keller Williams Realty, this guy, he's a billionaire. It's a huge company, residential real estate company.
Keller Williams, right?
What's that?
Keller Williams.
Keller Williams, exactly. Yeah. And he wrote a book, and it's called The One Thing. It's a great book, but in that, he's got this visual that he has, like, and it's basically your to-do list, right? There's two, and so he's got this list that he calls the should-do list, or I'm sorry, no. There's the to-do list, and all the things on your to-do list, and then the should-do list, and there's only 5 things that actually make it to your should-do list. And I think that that's a pretty profound visual when you get one of those in there, because you have to ask yourself, which one of these is actually going to get me more leads and potential, which is the only thing that leads to sales. It's the only thing, right? And so is your to-do list containing the things that are actually going to get you more sales? Oftentimes it is not. It's something that you have to audit every day, every week, that is the truth.
That's absolutely the truth. And I have to say one thing. So if you're on Facebook, I'm going to be able to switch to the view to see this. Otherwise, you won't. But just to insert a little brevity, I don't know if you saw this story, Nick, that went viral, but there's a National Cowboy Museum somewhere. I don't know where it is exactly. And, obviously everybody's been laid off or cut back or whatever. And so they have this guy that's the head of security. And it says, hello, my name is Tim, and I'm the head of the security for the Cowboy. And he's exactly like the guy you would think, like a bolo tie, and he has no idea how to run Twitter. And they said, would you just start posting some tweets and do the best that you can? And he has no idea what he's doing. I mean, when I say no idea, it is the funniest thing you've ever seen. I'll share it in the Facebook comments, but it is the funniest thing you've ever seen. And I love it because it's a perfect example of someone that has absolutely no idea how to do social media. He's hashtagging things with the words hashtag. He's typing it out. So there's a picture. He's got these boots, okay? And it says, and these are his boots. It says, and these are his boots, hashtag, all spelled out, John Wayne. and it goes down, and and he's writing notes in the tweets to his young cousin or his young nephew to tell him what to do. And then a couple later, he goes, I figured out the hashtag thing. Someone told me I need to put a number sign in front of it. And so he goes, here's John Wayne's outfit from such and such. He puts the hashtag sign, then he types hashtag again, and then John Wayne, all one word. This is the funniest thing ever. If you need a laugh, you got to look at this. But the important thing that the reminder that I took from this is this thing has gone viral, okay? And as a result of this guy getting creative, he has now got this museum on everyone's radar and done one of the greatest PR boons in the history of mankind just for being this wholesome guy. And I'll turn this off. Or I'll read one last one. He's got this last one. Here's a sculpture by Frederick Remington called the Bronco Buster, cast in 1918. What do you guys think of it? Seth in marketing told me that asking for questions on social media is good for engagement, in quotes. Let's get engaged, lol. And then he signs it, thanks, Tim. I'm very happily married to Tina, though. he just has no idea.
Oh my goodness, that is priceless.
So anyway, you can Google it. It's on the Facebook comments. Someone on here is telling me the museum is in Oklahoma City, but isn't that awesome? I mean, that just makes
so
me feel
good.
It's one of the most amazing things that you can do in these scenarios, in these situations. And I would just say as a personal, and Nick and I were on an Instagram live like the other day, and I sort of let slip some language like, here are some techniques and tactics, and I couched it by saying like, I realize that there's some sensitivity issues, but here are some techniques and tactics to best take advantage of this situation that we're in now. And you get in trouble for saying something like that, right? And I'm only sort of like, I'm not trying to be flippant. I understand, the just grave intensity of this situation for so many people, but I am also someone that just refuses to sit down and go down fighting and let this thing ruin my whole life and change my whole business and everything that I'm doing. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not taking it sitting down. And in terms of like creativity, we keep coming back to like, now is a time where you have to get creative more so than ever before. On this Instagram live, I was reading some stats yesterday, that obviously they're very easy to wrap your head around, but there are more people online right now than ever in the history of mankind. The internet can barely handle it. Facebook can barely keep the lights on. All the streaming services are having to lower the bandwidth because there's just too many people on at once. And so you have this extraordinary situation, this totally unique situation in the history of our lives. And that's the other thing. I've been asking everybody, even the people that I know that are like 80 and 90, is this the most extraordinary thing that's ever happened in your entire life? And, when I was asking it early on, people would hesitate. Now there's no hesitation. There's not a single solitary person that we know that says, for the most part, that this is the most extraordinary situation in their entire life. And so we keep hammering this idea of creativity. And so how has that changed for us as a business? We're fighting. We're doing everything that we can to get attention, everything that we can to make our customers succeed and successful. And as a result of that, we're getting insanely creative. I mean, right now, for the first time ever, we're live on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube at the same time. Had no idea how to do that 30 minutes ago. We figured it out, hacked it, got it together, and now we're having conversations with people in Instagram live, on Facebook live, and on YouTube live. That's amazing. So we're picking up all these new techniques and tactics that we wouldn't have picked up. We would not have been doing this in a pre-COVID world as a business at Art Storefronts. It would have been status quo. And you guys, as a result of that, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, and everybody has to know, like, especially the Art Storefronts members that are on here, why are we doing all this? Pat, why do we do all this all the time?
What do you mean? Just
why are we live on all three of these? Because we're constantly hacking all of these platforms and all these different things, because ultimately we've got to run the marketing ourselves. We got to test the marketing ourselves to see that it actually works and what it does and that it's worthwhile before we're going to actually recommend that our members do it and provide a playbook on how to do it, right? So it's we're shipping it right now. We call it shipping it because it just means we're not overdoing it. We're not trying to like make sure everything is the perfect quality. We're just doing it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that you find out.
Yep. And I've got a comment here on Instagram, and I love this comment, and it's Donna Tracy talking about a webcam, and exactly right. She was looking at the best webcam, and I was thinking that would be good for me, and how I'm going to get the best webcam. And I look horrendous on videos, and I don't know someone else's camera or video. I totally get that sentiment. A couple of things. One, we all look terrible on video. We're not movie stars. Get over it. I hate being on video.
There's something about looking at yourself on video. It just doesn't work. You know what I mean?
I hate it. I mean, I honestly can't stand it.
If anybody says that I look good on video, I just won't believe you. I just know I don't.
Yeah. The answer is, Donna, just get over it. Nobody cares. There is a lowered expectation in terms of the overall level of quality on these live videos. No one cares.
And that was Donna Tracy?
No one cares. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you see her in what she posted in our private members group this morning?
No, I did not.
Okay. So I started my giveaway 3 days ago, which is one of our tactics that she's running through, and I'm feeling encouraged. As of today, I have 94 emails captured, up from 10 at the start. And I've already gotten 2 sales. That's this morning. She posted that this morning. So if you think art isn't selling, right? I then boosted my giveaway on Facebook yesterday. So she's putting ads up. She boosted her post yesterday once she saw the success. So I'm waiting to see the results. I haven't started to boost on Instagram, but I'm going to do that today with my romance post. And of course, fingers crossed. So do you have any thoughts on that, Pat?
Yeah, it's amazing, and it goes to show you, like, you're executing and you're getting creative and you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, and look what happened. And like, I think a lot of Americans are going to start just losing it on this quarantine and this lockdown. It doesn't mean you're flippant, or I keep using the word flippant. I really like that word flippant, but it doesn't mean you're being flippant or you're discarding the rules. You're just being smart about things and you're doing the best you can, right?
some of the stuff that's going to come out of this is it's going to change everything. I mean, Beck Watkins, one of our members, you know,
she's on right now.
Hey Beck,
Yeah.
I love Beck. I mean, I think that she is going to be so successful because she is constantly, you know, like just in the matter of the last 2 weeks, the level of creativity, the hacking that's gone on. But she set up an art gallery in her front yard. Like, I mean, it was incredible. Like the video that she took of that, like her front yard. I mean, there were pieces hanging on trees. There were pieces up on easels. They were, you know, hanging on the fence, right? Like, and clearly, like during the pandemic, like this might not be like totally viable yet. She did it anyway because she was hacking, and she actually raised like I forget what it was, like $500 for charity or something like that. Got herself some awareness, and she like promoted to have her community do a drive through and see this art gallery. Everybody's sitting at home, you know? But what I think is so profound about that is like when this whole thing ends, these things are going to be totally viable. I mean, people are doing art galleries inside of their homes, in their garages. You don't need to have an art gallery. You can actually do it at your own home. And obviously you want to be doing these things online. But I am, you know, if there's something that I'm really fascinated with is I love the creativity at these times. I mean, I've gone through 2 recessions as an entrepreneur, right? 9/11 and then the financial crisis in 2008 and 9. And, you know, there's a saying like some of the best businesses are built during these times. Like a lot of people don't know that. Like, you know, like there's Facebook and Airbnb. I mean, these were startups like at the time during those, like the 2008 recession. And I think it forces you to get really creative. And I think that there's breakthroughs in industries that happen. I mean, I experienced it, you know, during the 2008 and 2009 recession. I was CEO of Breathing Color at that time, my other company. And, and we had to fight through the recession the same way. But what happened there was that was the beginning. Like it wasn't the beginning. It was like the catalyst of when art really started selling online and when people who didn't have an online presence really started hurting. I mean, there were people that we were like photographers and artists. I mean, we sold to a lot of printing companies. That was kind of our primary market. But there's a lot of photographers and artists who were really successful and had their own printing operation at that time. We lived in a different world at that time. That doesn't happen very often anymore. I don't really think it makes sense anymore either. But at that time, there were photographers and artists that were buying like $4,000 to $5,000 a month of canvas, like pallets of rolls of canvas to print on their printers, right? And after that crisis happened, that went down to like 2 rolls. I'm talking like $600 a month. So like they were buying, you know, 40, 45 rolls of canvas to print on a month, and they went down to like 3. And I would talk to them. I'd see them at a trade show, and they'd be like, "Nobody's buying art anymore. Like the market's gone." And then in the meantime, we're selling to companies like art.com and big companies that were just exploding, right? Like their printing operations were just exploding. They're buying pallets and pallets of canvas, and then galleries online, and then other photographers and artists who actually had like online presences and took it seriously. And I remember I had a conversation with this one guy, and I don't want to embarrass him, so I won't mention his name, but he's totally a famous name. And he was the one telling me, he's like, nobody's buying art anymore. And it was like 2011 at this time. And I said, you have totally missed out. The whole market has been moving online. And this market that you used to have in galleries and all this stuff is totally transitioned. And it was because when people have to, you know, be more thrifty with what they spend, they're going to get more creative with it. And so they started going online and realizing like, whoa, like there's way more out here. There's really good stuff online. And in fact, like there's stuff that's maybe better than yours. And so it's really interesting how that whole thing transitioned.
Yeah, no question. We have a question for Hyman Artist on Instagram: original or print, which sells better?
Can you repeat that? It kind of cut out for a second.
Original or print, which sells better?
Online? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the wrong question because originals sell online, no problem, all the time. We see it every single day. We have 3,000 artists and photographers on our platform. They're selling all the time, period. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, somebody asked us the other day, and I said, well, yesterday there was a $20,000 original that sold. So, like, so the reason I say it's the wrong question is because it matters. It only matters with your business. Like, what are you selling? Who is your audience? What are you trying to do, right? If you're an artist who really only sells originals, and your entire email list is all people that have signed up for you because they've met you somewhere and they saw your originals, then all of your marketing needs to be designed around those originals, and you will sell more originals, whether offline or online. It doesn't matter, right? Like if your business is prints and you sell prints offline, like all you're going to do is try to expand all of that, and the product that you market and you sell will sell. The online market is not like this esoteric little thing up here that's like, like, do those people who are online like buy originals? That's not how it works. It's the same people. It's just how you market it and how you design your business.
Yep. We should mention we've got a big live broadcast tomorrow, 12:30 Pacific,
yes.
2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. How can you find out about it? If you go to our Facebook page and you like the page, Facebook's really good for notifications. If you're on Instagram, you can look at the link in the bio, and there's a way to get notified. This one's just sort of a fun little let's test some streaming software chat. We'd love to answer any and all questions. So
yeah, keep dropping your questions on there. I see one here on Instagram from hyman.artists.
That's the one we answered. We just answered that.
Well, there might be another one here. Artists will spend a lot of money on supplies. When it comes down to marketing, they won't, and then the price is too high, right? How great of a line is that? It's so true. Like the way that I think about, like, you're correct on the fact that, like, marketing, right? Like, they might not spend it on marketing, but I actually look at it like customer experience, like photographers will buy an amazing camera and they'll spend $1,000 on an aftermarket lens and all of this stuff, right? Artists will buy whatever they buy. People will invest so much in their career, but then when it comes to giving your customer an amazing experience, all of a sudden you won't do it, right? Like, all of a sudden it's not there. Or to, like, actually properly market your business, all of a sudden it's not there, right? The funds aren't there. When it's like, you got to flip the whole thing around. Your customer experience is what matters most. This is how Apple and Amazon have become $1 trillion companies, right? Like, you've got to market yourself to get eyeballs on your business. And so you're taking away from the one thing that's actually going to get you somewhere. So it's a very interesting thing. A lot of people make that mistake, though. They don't have the right mindset on that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Beck says in the group that Debbie Schiffer is her ASF Marco Polo buddy, who I'd been practicing live video with for like 8 months. We talked daily. We did not know each other before our storefronts. And now we are both doing live video. It's not that hard, and it's fun, actually. You have no choice to be genuine when you're live. It's so true. It's so true. And nobody cares. Like, the barrier for entry is so much lower than people think it is. Like, you just go for it. It just doesn't even matter. You go for it, you turn it on, and all of a sudden you're reaching people that you can't even begin to believe you are reaching. It is sort of like, you remember back in the day when we all had Facebook pages and we liked everyone else's Facebook pages, and you would see 100% of the organic posts. People love complaining about that. It used to be that way on Instagram early on. Live is how you get that back. Don't know how long it's going to last. Not going to last forever, but live is how you get that back. I mean, that's honestly one of the best ways to do it.
Yeah, I love Janine Goldsmith here on Instagram. She says, "Success is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration." I love that quote. It's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else do we have here? Any other questions?
I mean, I'm just surprised that we pulled this off. I mean, we got the trifecta, all three. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So what are you excited about for tomorrow? For tomorrow's live?
We're going to talk tomorrow a ton about unconventional marketing tactics, some additional hacks, tricks, tips that you can use to get attention during this time. We're going to talk quite a bit about some live tradecraft, which we're developing at a rapid clip right now. We're going to be tearing down some websites, I think, as well, which should be pretty fun. And I don't know, did you have a presentation on anything else? Or it's just open office hours?
Well,
really.
I just,
our goal.
no,
Yeah.
the part that I'm excited about is just I love working with our members and talking to them and seeing their faces and working on their specific businesses, right? Because I think that's the key. One of the things that I've like, you know, I've always had in my mind over the years, like in building companies as an entrepreneur, is like, you know, whenever I would always seek to meet with my mentors, right? And get advice. And I would go and I would ask them like, hey, can I take you for coffee or for lunch? So I could get, and I'd get like an hour of free advice. But the thing that I noticed was that it was never enough, Pat. Like it was, like I'm being dead serious right now. Like I get a lot of high level advice, but it was never enough because, you know, there's just more to it. You got to get into like the weeds a little bit more, just a little bit more, right? In order to really get value, like actionable stuff that you can really take back and work on your business. And I think that is so critical. That's the thing that we're doing. And I hate to hear of anybody struggling at all because I want to make sure that they're on there so that they get the advice that they need. I think like there's a concept that I've gotten really big on, and I've coined the phrase preemptive management, right? Or you could say preemptive entrepreneurship, but I firmly believe that fixing like your current problems right now, like whatever it is, and making sure that you're focused on the right thing is so big. Because if we can fix, if you're going in the wrong direction and you don't even know it, like your business is just flatlining. And a year from now, like this is your trajectory, right? It's just flat. But if you can fix one thing right here, that's like you're focused on the wrong thing. And we actually did that with a gal, Debbie, that like on Tuesday, if you remember. Because what I was saying, she was like, I've been on TV, I've been doing all this stuff, you know, and she's had a lot of success, right? And but I said, did you collect more emails this month than you did last month? And she was like, I don't know. I'm not sure that I did. And I was like, that's your problem. Like you're focused on everything else but the one thing that's going to move your business forward. And so we started really going into that and talking about how she could do that and things like that. And I think like it's one of those moments where we were able to pinpoint exactly what she needed to do for her business, given her success and where she was finding success, and to change that trajectory. It's like the elbow in the curve. It's the point where instead of flatlining for like a year and going, I just don't know what I'm doing wrong, you know, she changes from that point. And then that's what sets her business off on a different trajectory for the next year. And so the more preemptive that you can be, you know, with your business to make sure that you're actually going down the right path, the sooner that you're going to be at a success level 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years from now.
Yep, totally agree. So we're going to get into a bunch of it. Like we sort of, you know, I think we're on I think tomorrow is number 8. So 8 of these things that we've done, and we're really just figuring it out. But you know, the initial feedback so far is like, it's just a call-in art show, art and photography marketing show. You call in with your questions, we answer them live. We come at them from, you know, quite a few years experience running businesses and marketing online digitally, as well as having, you know, the tremendous benefit of over 3,000 members on our site and being able to see all the data. And, you know, we didn't have that when we first got started, right? We were building a business from scratch. But now that we see all of the art selling, like we're spoiled. We're really spoiled because we get to see the trends happening before others do. And we get to see truly what's selling and what volume, what media types, what sizes, what are the best combinations on a website to have to truly move as much art as you can, what marketing is working, how much is being sold in the fourth quarter in comparison to the other 3 quarters, you know, how well email's working, is Messenger working, what about Instagram, what's driving the most traffic. Like we've got some insane data. So we're not, you know, we don't by any means call ourselves like the biggest experts in the world, but we're playing with a skill set and a data set now, I think, that we don't mention enough. That really has become a phenomenal tool in understanding what's really working and selling.
That's such a great point, because it's like the advantage that is baked into that, which we try to pass to the membership, you know, that's the whole thing, right? It's like, what knowledge can we all gain and can we all share with each other to make sure that everybody is on, you know, like is just operating at a higher clip than anybody else in the industry. And just to make it easier, like that research, the ability to have that level of research never existed in the art world, and like for thousands of years, and it's just amazing that technology has allowed this to happen, where you can have a platform of people running their businesses together and sharing all that info, so that it's like, wait a minute, let's really learn from all of our past mistakes. Let's really learn from what's working, and let's share that information as quickly as possible, so that everybody's kind of operating on the same level.
For sure. And Beck's asking, can you briefly share how you are live on all three platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram? For those tuning in, we're testing our live stuff. Here's the misconception about live. Like, the cell phone is honestly the most efficient and fastest way to go live on all three. It is incredibly easy to do so. Yes, you need multiple cell phones to do the stream at the same time. But do not overthink it. Like, Instagram is the best use case. Like, you can't even use a computer for Instagram, right? You can only use the phone. And Instagram obviously has a new feature. I mean, how cool is this? Like, I start the stream. Nick says, "Hey, I want to join." I press a button. He comes right on, and there we go. We're live. And there's, it took 10 seconds to set that whole thing up, and we're just talking. That's it. That's how easy it was. And you can do the same thing on Facebook, and you can do the same thing on YouTube. So you got to just not overthink it and ship it. Ship it. It does not matter if you only have 1 or 2 people on your stream. All that means is you got plenty of time to practice because no one's watching, right? But when you do the groups, it's a great way to make it a little bit more interactive and a little bit more fun. And then you can talk about potentially grouping up together and figuring out ways to get more. We're going to get into all that on Friday, but I don't want to get too into the weeds.
Yeah, I would say, Beck, don't worry. Like, if you don't have a following on like YouTube or Twitter or anything like that, it's just not worth your time. Like, I would just focus on going live where you actually have followers for the time being. And probably the easiest way, like if you have an old phone or an extra phone, or you can buy one, like they're actually pretty cheap to buy. Like, you just set up, I would just have both of them and just have Instagram, or like right in front of you, Instagram and Facebook. You can go live on both, at the same time, just pointing at you. That's probably the best way to go for a photographer or artist, right? Because I don't think YouTube really makes sense. Too.
It's super fun to just get creative. Yeah, we should mention, like, if you don't have a following on the platform, then no one's going to join your live stream, and it's sort of counterproductive. So yeah, you want to go on the one platform that you have the most fans and followers on, right? Yes, I realize it's a chicken and egg situation. I've got an interesting question here, Nick, from Kim, and it says, would this be the right place, time to ask about how to have a downloadable PDF book, coloring book, as a product? We might as well do that. Let's do it. Answer that. So having a PDF, a digital download on our site as a product in our Art Storefront store.
Yeah, of course. Like, this is the time to try anything. Like,
yeah.
there is.
She was asking, like, can you do that with Art Storefronts? Can you have a PDF download, a digital download?
Well, the way that you would do it is you just set up a standard product, and then when somebody bought it, you would just send it to them in an email. Very simple.
Yeah, so you can take the credit card transaction. The system's not going to send the PDF for you automatically because we're just not set up that way. But we have one lady that is doing, I can't remember who it is. I'm terrible with names as it is, curse, but she's selling Facebook Lives, teaching people how to paint, and she's selling a very good clip of them.
Yes,
I see them popping all the time. I think she charges like $45.
$45.
You just think of it as like, okay, Art Storefronts will handle the transaction piece. That's done. And then the rest of it's got to be hand-to-hand combat with an email. So that's how you do it. But that's a great way to, personally reach out to customers anyway. So, unless you're selling 500 of those ebooks a day, which is obviously not feasible, you sell a couple here or there, the hand email is pretty easy to do.
Yeah. There's another question here on Instagram from Kukui Art Prints. I think this is a problem or a question that a lot of photographers, artists have.
The Kukui nut. She's from Hawaii.
So she says, he or she, I can't tell, it's a family photo. So if you're an artist and shift your niche to something that sells better, but you are less passionate about it, how do you create romance emails and posts? That's a question. I guarantee you that is an Art Storefronts member right there, because I can just tell by the quality of the question, right? And the terminology used. So okay, so here's what I would say. I think this is a great question. I think that, I think all of us as human beings, we get things into our head that if only everything I could do could just be like 100% my passion, right? Or if everything I do all day long could just be easy and I love it. And like, that's just not how it works, right? Like, I really don't think you'd love your life that way, either in many ways, because if everything was easy, like you'd never really feel any accomplishment, There's a saying, I forget the exact words of the saying, but it's like, if parts of your life from your day are not uncomfortable, it means you're not growing as a person at all.
That's right.
At all, right? And so, like I've been successful in my business endeavors, and I will say to anybody, like, no matter what I do every day, like maybe I love doing like, half or 60 or 70% of what I do, and the other 30% sucks, straight up, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're dealing with lawyers and contracts and administrative stuff that you don't want to be doing and then you have to do. And, it's not always just like the most amazing thing ever, right? Like, and so you just have to kind of get that out of your head. So back to her question or his question, if you can find a niche that actually sells and you're painting and bringing in money, and that gives you the time to paint what you want, as a hobby, I think that's an amazing thing. Like you've just figured out how to be a full-time artist, right? Sometimes you're painting things that you don't want, and maybe you're romancing about it. Maybe you can slip in every once in a while the things that really move you, and you can do that. Like, but I think that's an amazing life, and I think you have to find a way to get passionate about what your customers love. Like, think about that for a second. This is so like important. If your customers are resonating with something that you're doing and you don't like that, that's kind of like there's a disconnect with me there, because it's like, isn't this about your customers or is it all about you? Like, I get that there's a part that's about you, right? Like that's part of the reason why you do art. Like you're not like, I used to play a lot of music and I wrote a lot of songs, and I didn't really write any songs for anybody else. I really wrote them because it mattered to me. Like it came out of me, right? That was it.
Let's not go back into the archives here. We'll pull a music video out.
No, that's all right. That's all right. We'll pass on that. But my point is that I get that, right? Like you don't just say, oh, I'm going to create something and then like just go and do it. It just kind of comes out of you. But I think that you, if you're doing something and it's resonating with your audience, a group of people or whatever, try to find a way to connect with that, because you are adding value into the world. And I think that you can get behind that when you start realizing that.
This is so crazy to try and keep this going on all three computers at once. Okay,
so what do you think about a blog within the artist's website? What would you say to that?
I love it. It's a fantastic idea. And if that's, if you're good at creating written content, some visual content, it gives you a very non-salesy destination on the web that you can email your list, and you drive them to that site and don't feel like you're selling anything, and don't sell anything, and don't give them a 15% off or a 50% off or a 25% off, and don't say, buy my art today. Instead, just send them some awesome content, brighten up their day. Yes, I love it.
I think blog posts are essentially romance marketing posts, and you should keep them short, relatively short, and you should use that content as your romance marketing content on social media. I think you can get a 2-for-1 on all of that. If you're going to take the time to write some good content, like that's exactly what romance content is. You know what I mean? Like, and on your social media post, when you do the romance post, you can link directly to that blog post. So you might only have the first paragraph in there and link it right to that blog post, but you're getting a 2-for-1 on that. So it's a good idea.
Yeah, Kim's asking, what kind of content, what kind of blog content would be appropriate? Personal life thing or viewpoint behind art? That's a catch-all. I would just say, like, the whole point of the blog and what we're doing. See, my wife's back there taking photos of my setup. Unbelievable. The whole point is everybody approaches art marketing, and all they want to do is run sales and coupons and say, buy my art, buy my art, buy my art. What the blog gives you the ability to tell some stories, to share your work in a non-salesy way, without constantly going for the jugular, which is like, you know, the basic rookie mistake that so many make trying to market online. So I would just say that you can do whatever you like. You can just share your images. You can tell a story. You can do a video, whatever you're comfortable with. And let me tell you, you don't need to start by saying, oh my gosh, well, how am I going to get a blog? Who am I going to use for hosting? How am I going to approach that? What am I going to do about that? Is my wife standing right behind me?
No.
You can start by blogging right on Facebook. You can start by blogging right on Instagram. Write a post, use some images, tell a story about those images, do some live painting, some live photographing. If you're a photographer, you can do your retouching. You can do just about anything, and you can start doing it that way. Get in the habit of just doing that and putting some content out and talking about you and why you're awesome and why you should be engaged in your art, and start there.
Yep. All right, let's give YouTube a little love here. Jenny McGee, she's an Art Storefronts member. Love her. She's great. Do you recommend Facebook Living on your business page or your personal page?
That's a good question.
And she said, I find many more people see it on my personal page. Will see it on my personal page.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just do your personal page. I mean, like, look.
Wherever you have the followers, right?
Yeah, this is a chicken and egg situation, sadly. And this is also, I mean, let's just take a step back and talk about why you need to be marketing all year long, why you need to be moving the attention around all year long. Taylor, if you're on this thing, will you put the move the attention around in the Facebook comments, or maybe I can do it when Nick's talking. But if you market all year long, let's just talk about a cautionary tale. We've been marketing on YouTube. It's not our primary channel, but we've been watering that plant all year long, okay? And I know a lot of artists do, and I know a lot of artists don't. We've been watering Facebook all the time. Obviously, it's the main platform for us. So too Instagram. And so now here we are in this situation where you can't go outside of your house, and everybody's vying for attention. And us, Art Storefronts as a business, all of those pages are stacked with followers, and instantaneously we're talking to our entire audience. So if that's not a cautionary tale about, you know, putting some water in these additional pots all year long, I don't know what else is. But yes, you want to get on the platform and market on the platform that you have the highest level of attention and you're capable of meeting the highest number of people. Now, do we have some tricks up our sleeve that will allow you not to fight there and stack the deck in your favor? Yes, we do. We'll tell you about that in upcoming workshops, ways that you can hack it and get creative. But step one is just to start shipping. And I don't care if you have one person on your stream or two person on your stream or 10. It's just a great idea to get started and see where you can go with it.
Yeah, so on Instagram, Janine Goldsmith asked, should I have a plan and a mission statement to prevent drift? And then, she says she has another, it's a two-part question. And should artists have a business plan and mission statement? Thank you for answering this live. Yeah. So to prevent drift, I love that you said that. Like, that's exactly the way that you need to be thinking. Mm-hmm. Having a marketing plan, and understanding what you should be doing every day, I think is a really good thing. As far as a business plan and a mission statement, if it helps you, I think it's good to understand what is the mission of what you're doing, right? Like, how are you adding value to the world, to your customers? So you need to answer that question. But what I would say is that, having been an entrepreneur for 20 years, I feel like I've read just about every book on business or entrepreneurship that you can. And I've read tons of blogs and all this different stuff. And I mean, I've really gotten kind of cynical on all those things at this point. And I think that, where I have come to is that there are 1, 2, or 3 metrics that drive the growth of any business at the end of the day. And you need to know what those are. And for an art business, I did a whole presentation on this. It's called the number 1 metric of any art business. You can find that on our YouTube page or on our blog. I would definitely watch that. But I suggest, different things will work for different people. But for me, understanding what those metrics are, I literally print them out. I have them taped to my wall. So I look at them every day. So I am constantly reminded, yep, those are the metrics. If those are not moving forward every day or every week, then, my life is not moving forward. My businesses are not moving forward, right? So it's very easy to work on something for 3 days and then look at that and go, wait a minute, what I was working on had nothing to do with those. And that's the way that I prevent drift.
Yep, I like it. Also, someone said you have to have 1,000 followers on YouTube before you stream. I totally forgot about that. You do. Now, I would say with a grain of salt, because I would never recommend something like this, but allegedly you can buy followers from certain sites out there and get up over the 1,000 hump. We didn't do that. I'm not advocating you do that, but allegedly that's a possibility.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, why even do that, right? Like, because if the audience really isn't there and it's a fake audience, you probably shouldn't even bother. It's a waste of time anyway, right?
Yeah,
like for the time being.
You got to build it up organic.
Yeah, like you might as well just do it on Facebook and Instagram first, and when it organically happens, then you're fine. But I really think that for photographers and artists, that Facebook and Instagram is your jam anyway, right? Like it's the 80-20 on the whole thing, on doing your lives. So like, don't add that extra technical load on yourself trying to get YouTube going, because I think you can very easily do Facebook and Instagram with 2 phones, you know?
We do have some artists that are killing it though. Like there's a couple that do live painting, and
that's true.
You know, or the time lapse thing, and it's wonderful. But it's like anything else. You're going to commit to it. It's going to be a multi-year journey to get that thing up and running, get subscribers. You're going to have to do the work. So in the beginning, I think, if you have one area to focus on, where would it be? Even if video is my absolute strong suit, I would probably still focus on Facebook and Instagram over YouTube, and then do YouTube on the margin. But again, it's different strokes for different folks. I've seen great results either way. So
what do you have on, do we have any comments on Facebook?
Yeah, I think we've answered most of them. Let me just see here. Pull this up. No, I think we actually do have some. Let me see.
Yeah, and while you're looking at that, I'll just mention again that we have our live art business consulting show tomorrow, where we're bringing on Art Storefronts members, talking about their businesses specifically. But it's live on Facebook, and it is at 12:30 Pacific, 2:30 Central, and 3:30 Eastern.
You got it. I would also say Kim's been working on a piece that is political, more of a message than intended for a wall. How do I address marketing that piece that we've seen and heard?
So it's a political, well, I mean,
let it rip. Don't overthink it. Just go for it.
Yes.
Especially when you're just getting started.
Yes, exactly. Especially if you're just getting started, for sure.
Yeah. One sec. Somebody's coming to my door.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I'm looking here at Instagram. If you guys have questions, let's see here. This is going to sound stupid, but how do you blog? Okay, so your website, your website platform, like on Art Storefronts, there's just a blog feature on there. So it's built right in. So you just start blogging right off the bat. Your website, if you have a website, then it should have a blog feature. So there's not really anything special about that or tricky. Yeah, my art is for my audience, and I want them to have an experience. Exactly. That is the whole, like, the one-on-one experience is everything for artists. Like, it is everything. We talk about that a lot, like the hand-to-hand combat. Don't use automation. Don't fall for the, I need to have unsold carts. You know what I mean? Like an unsold cart feature where you only get a couple of unsold carts, a week or a month, but then you want to automate the whole thing when this whole business is all about non-automation, high touch, as they say, right? High touch customer experiences. I mean, I was talking to Meg Knappenberger, one of our artists, and she had told me, she's like, everybody, like the people who buy originals from me and limited editions, like a lot of them, like I'm on a text message basis with them. And I was like, wow, you are? And she's like, yeah, of course. Like they're text messaging me, back and forth all the time. Like, like that's how high, and surprise, surprise, she's extremely successful, like you're giving an experience. That's part of your experience. That's part of the product technically, right? Like when you think about it. And so reaching out to the people who join your email list, reaching out to the people who are actually adding something to their shopping cart and connecting with them as the artist. And they're like, whoa, the artist, like I'm talking to the artist right now on like via email. This is amazing. I mean, that is how you do it. That's how these people go, hey, I know that person. Like, and when it comes time for them to actually buy something and put something on their wall, like they have a personal connection with you. It's a whole different ballgame than the extremely cold, Fine Art America, or
The Instagram derped out. I don't know what happened. So we're
yeah, no
done
problem. The experience of buying art online at an art.com or like a Fine Art America, and I have nothing wrong with those. It's just a very cold experience. And it's the exact opposite of what you want to do. The exact opposite. Literally.
Yes,
like look at that. Like this is like a totally profound thing. And I want your comment on this too, Pat, as a marketer. Like
Sure.
literally whatever they do from a marketing standpoint is like the opposite of what you want to do. Like what do? They do automation. They, are, listing millions of pieces side by side, and the prices like are really low. Everything. It's about bulk selling, right? Like there's no romancing whatsoever. It's low touch, the lowest touch possible. They have no personal experience with the customer. They're not providing any type of experience for their buyers, right? You were talking about Matthew Laka, the painter, the other day. Total successful painter, Art Storefronts member. And you were talking about and showing actually on the live stream how he was doing personalized videos for his upcoming new gallery show for his collectors. And he ended up selling every piece before the show started, right?
No, but a good portion.
A good portion. And that, it's like, that is an example of very high touch versus low touch. And that's what you do. That's how you're going to get higher prices. That's how you're gonna, that's how you're gonna build a great business.
Yeah. What was the original context of the automation question that came in?
No, it was talking about one of the gals on Instagram was saying how she wants to provide her customers with an amazing experience, and yes. I was just saying yes. Yeah, that's what you have to do.
The best experience is in person, and if you can't do in person, what's the next best? Getting as close to in person online as you can do. And that's personal, high touch. Automation, honestly, is the enemy. And it just, automation is part of the biggest lie that is sold, which is that there's going to be some sort of magical passive income machine that you're going to turn on that's going to do everything for you. You're going to press a button, it's going to send the email, it's going to thank them, it's going to ship it, you're going to get paid, you're not going to have to do anything, you're just going to go and create. And that is like Bigfoot. Everybody's heard about it. No one's ever seen it. Why? Because it does not exist. Stop thinking that it's going to exist. Stop thinking that there's going to be some system with automation or some marketplace where you're just going to put your art up and it's going to sell like gangbusters and you're just going to get to create and not do anything and play shuffleboard Friday afternoon.
Never, ever going to happen. Never, ever going to happen. Doesn't happen in any business, right? It is never going to happen. It's so important because the sooner that you get that out of your head, the sooner you're moving forward and are being productive, right? Like that's, I mean, you can talk to any successful photographer or artist and they will tell you the exact same thing. Like you got to work at it and you got to find your passion in it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're going to go live tomorrow. What time? 12:30 Pacific, 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. That's going to be on Facebook. If we can sort it out, perhaps YouTube, likely Instagram as well, although the best experience will be Facebook because we're going to have a ton of our customers in there doing rapid fire art marketing questions. It's going to be a very intense session. I mean, I think, how many hours did Tuesdays go? We did 4 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours. I mean, I
4 hours of consulting.
And had to go deal with like kid drama for like 45 minutes. I came back. It was still going. So
yeah, I got up and I could barely walk. Like it was one of those, like you've been on an airplane for 4 hours. My legs, like they totally stiffened up.
No, but it's so fun. It's so high energy. We're really enjoying them. So totally encourage everybody to join. Easiest way to do that, get on our Facebook page, search Art Storefronts, like the page. That's the easiest way to get notified. There's a post on there too, which we don't have all our links ready. So we're sort of just not prepared to give them a link, but it's going to be a huge session. Could go hours. Cocktails, cold beers, totally acceptable, especially as it gets into the later afternoon on shelter-in-place Fridays.
Yeah, and the other thing too, like if you know a friend that might benefit from this, photographer or artist, share this with them, please. They will benefit from it. And for any of you out there that have been paying attention to Art Storefronts for a while and you want to like know a little bit more, go to our website and request a demo. And what happens is our outreach team will reach out to you to have a quick art chat. basically like a discovery call to see if, to learn about you and what you've been doing and what's going on. And it's basically just to see if you're a good fit, because we will not sign up anybody that is not a good fit. It's a slow process. You can't sign up immediately. It takes, at least a week or two, to go through that discovery process. So if you want to do that, go ahead and request a demo, and one of our people will reach out to you and see if there's an opportunity there.
And I missed one quick question here. And it's for a photographer, and this is Elizabeth. Thanks for the question, Elizabeth. For a photographer, what would you show live? So what I would do is I would get, I'm trying to think what would be the easiest way to do it. I would probably use Loom. Loom is like this free screen recording app, and the reason you would use it is because it would allow you to put your face on your screen, and I would get into Lightroom or Photoshop, and I would show sort of some of the new photos of what you're working on, maybe even do some live editing, talk about it a little bit about why you're bringing this in or burning that out or blurring this or sharpening this. You can show some different angles. You can show it on walls. There's a ton you can do just retouching, and then, just talking about your process and what you do. That's probably where I would go.
Yeah, I think another thing that you can do, and this is not done enough, is like show actual prints of your product. Like show the real product. How often do you hear me talking about this recently, by the way? Like, you go to people's like Instagram feeds.
It's a pet peeve for both of us, for sure.
Oh yeah, I think the merchandising aspect, right, is like a huge thing. And by the way, the merchandising feature, I'm super excited about that. Are we getting that done quickly? We're getting that done, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is going to be amazing. We're adding a feature to Art Storefronts where on the media types like canvas, metal, acrylic, we realize, like in all of these studies and stuff that we do, that like most consumers have no idea what these things are. Like even when you say a gallery wrap, they don't even know what that is. Like It's terminology that you take for granted because you know it so well. You know what I mean? Like and so anyways, the feature is we hired like a high production videographer or whatever you call it, and to take video of like all of these different media types at different angles and stuff like that, and pictures and everything, so that all of our all the Art Storefronts members on their websites, when somebody hovers over the canvas media type and they want to see exactly what that is, there's going to be just this unbelievable video production quality so that they can see that. Same for metal, acrylic, wood, and so forth.
Got it. All right, on that note, Friday, guys, 12:30, 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. Join us. We're going to be going for hours. We realize everyone's on a different schedule, so if you can pop in for a time, you can leave us questions, comments. We'll answer them. We'll address them and get into some super fun stuff. On that note, thanks for the attention. And Nick, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
All right, Patrick. Sounds good. Thank you. See you tomorrow.